Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Now, I apologise for not uploading in a few months, but as of now I'm really starting to try and get back into it with Fortnite, Call of Duty and just any other game as well. But today I'm going to be talking about a topic that could maybe be a little bit controversial with regards to Fortnite. It could also be insignificant. I'm not actually sure what the overall opinion with the community is, but today I'm going to be talking about henchmen and AI bosses within Fortnite. To put it simply, I really don't enjoy having the likes of these AI bosses or henchmen in the game. I don't like the fact that AI bosses are in these locations dropping OP weapons so that people can then just get them, have an unfair advantage and then wipe the floor with the lobby. I also really don't like the henchmen as well, because I can just don't enjoy going up against them. At first, when this all started earlier on in Chapter 2, I thought it was pretty decent, however it has quickly lost its charm for me. Especially the henchmen, they were all over the place, and early on I think they were way too accurate as well, which obviously just meant finding them was just really annoying. In multiplayer games, I don't like coming up against AI anyway, so after a couple of weeks of them being in Fortnite, I was really ready for them to be taken out. Fast forward a good few months, maybe a year, and here they still are. Yes, okay, they're in a far less capacity now than before, but I still find them incredibly boring and annoying to come up against. If I land at Doom's domain, I don't really want two random bots trying to kill me if I'm trying to kill an actual other player. And I also don't want Dr. Doom throwing down his big green bomb and wiping me out when I'm trying to do something else. It's just really not fun. Same with Iron Man. If I land at Stark Industries, there are obviously loads of bots that obviously can't hit for shit, but I don't want Iron Man using his uni beam when I'm trying to either heal myself or kill an enemy. Even with the bosses before this current Marvel season, where they just had even better versions of already really good guns, I just didn't enjoy that either, because so many people would obviously just try and land there, risk everything and end up with these sick weapons that would then give them the advantage for the rest of the game. Even if they do die later on in the match, that then means someone who's probably done bugger all in the game then gets this insane weapon and then puts them at this advantage that will allow them to potentially win the game. And I just don't really like seeing that in Fortnite. Obviously there is more to it than just the weapons. You could win with just common weapons, because obviously you need to build and think tactically with all this, but for me it's just still rather annoying. I'd love to go back to the days where things were a little bit more simpler, where it was literally just 100 actual players all having that fair chance of finding loot and killing people around the game to try and win, and not knowing where all the best loot is so that you can just go there and farm it and have an easy win. Now I know this is super nitpicky, but it's just a topic that I've really grown to dislike over the last few months. Chapter 2 so far has been all about Ghost versus Shadow, but this last season feels like it completely abandoned that due to it obviously being a Marvel season. Now don't get me wrong, I really do like the Marvel content, but it feels like it completely got rid of the story from previous seasons, and that is a big thing that I really enjoy with the game. It's also added a bunch of abilities to give players an unfair competitive advantage. Obviously it's not pay to win, but it's still really frustrating to see this nonetheless. Now, like I said earlier, the bots and bosses are in a much smaller form now, which obviously I do like compared to what we had before. And to be fair, this season they have really changed things up with how the AI actually work. With the bosses, you actually get given abilities, and with the Stark robot, you can actually hack them and have them help you, which is pretty cool. But again, the novelty just wears off after some time. Now, in the game you're watching now, I do end up with Wolverine's claws, and I do end up winning the game. Now, I feel like having the claws obviously was a big part of that, and it does feel cool to have them. And having obviously the abilities, the bosses and the bots do change the way the game plays quite a lot. But I really do miss the days where it was a bit simpler when they weren't in the game, like I mentioned earlier. Now, being able to see those skins from the Battle Pass actually in the map as bosses has definitely helped to tell the story of Chapter 2 thus far, but I just hope that going forward we can actually see bosses and henchmen kind of phase out the game, at least for a while, just because I like to see it go back to kind of more the roots, or maybe just try and do something different. Now, I know if this video ever got 1 million views, I know a lot of people in the comments would be saying, oh, but you could just not go to these places where the henchmen and bosses are, which, I mean, yeah, I could do that, but that only solves a small part of the problem. Other players are still going to go to these places and get these OP powers and weapons to give them a huge advantage in the match, and it also means that I can't go to some of my preferred landing spots like Doom's Domain, aka Pleasant Park. Sure, the bot problem is only really an early game situation, but I do also find that experience still quite lackluster, especially if I keep dying towards the start and having to keep going into these situations again and again. Now, I know this has been a bit of an odd rant to be fair, but I felt like I needed to express my thoughts on this anyway, So why not share it in a video and get things rolling again with this channel? Let me know in the comments as well what you think about all this as well. Do you like having the AI bosses? Do you not, or do you just not care? Let me know. That is it from me today though. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.